Welcome everybody to the Brother Speak podcast. This is Brother Speak, a little more impromptu, but there was a discussion that happened last night, Family Star Network, and we was discussing gender war, black man, the typical stuff. Black man ain't doing shit, typical shit. There was a comment was made about James Earl Jones was saying that the black women were masculine, and I remember he did an interview about his dealings with black women and why he married his white woman, the first wife. He ended up marrying a second one. They stayed together for 34 years, you know. But I remember because I had to go back and look at it, and I remember him saying something to that, something like that. But then now that I listened to it, and when he said it, it makes more sense what he was saying. It wasn't even a diss, but it was more or less he was understanding why they were where they were and how this could affect the future. He literally predicted what was happening now, And so, what I was going to do is I was going to look up that video, and I'm gonna play it here.
Hey, yo,
Oops, my bad there. And so I was going to play that here, and let's look for the other file here. That part. All right, we'll get to that part here because it's kind of got cut off bits and pieces. But we're going to play it here, and I'm going to review it. So let's get into it. Cut some of this stuff off. All right, let's find that here. All right, so I had to cut through part of it because it was like skipping, and so let's get into it. Here. All right, fair use, everybody, fair use. So let's get into it. Here we go.
Black man for what happened to them in slavery even today? Of course.
Let me back up a bit here. All right.
No, what your question was, what is the Jim, do black men marry white women because of the nature of black women? I know in some of our earlier conversations you mentioned that black women you've met have been uptight. What do you mean by that?
Well, I'll answer the one question. What do I mean by uptight? Going toward a more militant attitude about their own identity. And in many ways, are way ahead of the black man. Because I don't know why, but in many ways are replacing the black man. There's a whole, there's an almost unfeminine aspect of the black militant woman.
Do you find that some black women you've known out of your personal experience blame the black man for what happened to them in slavery even today?
Of course, if the black man, regardless of the causes, failed to protect her, left her in a position where she had to sell herself or bargain with her body and so on. Yes, she said there's resentment about that. But it's very complex now. You see, I think in another generation you'll get a whole crop, a whole generation of young black women.
Jim, where does the black man stand today in relation to the black woman, the white woman? Why? You hear it said that some black... I better do that again, I'm sorry. Jim, do black men marry white women because of the nature of black women? You've said in some of our earlier conversations that black women seem to be uptight. Uptight about what?
Uptight about their position in society. There are many, because I'm generalizing now, many are overreacting against Aunt Jemima, the Aunt Jemima image, the submissive Mother Earth type, unselfish, all giving, especially all giving to the white man, sexually and in the kitchen and every other way. And she's also overreacting against the problem of having to be the breadwinner, the matriarch of the house. The myth of the black matriarch is really a myth, because she is not. It wasn't her choice. Many black women, I'm sure, once they found this job had a certain social and political dignity to it, relished it and wielded the rolling pin, like any minority group mama would do. But no matter how much she might relish it, it wasn't her choice to begin with. She would always have preferred the black male to have run the house, to have saved her from white rapists, white slave owners,
Is the black woman pop?
But I recognize that this reaction can exist. You see. Ask me another question.
Why did you marry Julianne?
I married Julianne because she's Julianne. Yeah, nothing to do with race at all, really.
No, not at all.
If I looked at it from a social standpoint, I could say that she outshone, as a person, most women I met of any race.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Julianne. Why did you marry Jim? But first, do you know what Jim means by the uptightness of black women?
Oh, yes.
You've been in the theater.
Well, I've felt it. I've sensed it with almost every black woman that we know, whether they accept me or not. Whether there's always a tolerance, but there's always hostility behind it. I can understand it intellectually. Thank God I didn't have to go through the process that made it occur. I happen to think it's a good thing that they're showing hostility. I think it's the only thing they can show at the moment. And I think out of the hostility, I think that's a healthy sign. I think out of that,
All right, so let's break it down. Go back and break it down. Some of the things that I noticed. So I'm gonna replay it here. Let's go back.
So a violent movement with their body is almost.
Jim, do black men marry white women because of the nature of black women? I know in some of our earlier comments.
Sorry, cut it.
All right, let's cut it.
Want to achieve anything he wants, to capture anything he wants, right? And around I think 14, you begin to say, well, there's certain kind of women you shouldn't have, and so on and so forth. Well, that's one aspect of the problem. I think that that thing that happens at 14 should not happen. First of all, a man should pursue the kind of woman that either is in his dreams or is in his reality or whatever. Now you get to.
All right, and listen to that part. I think that is, yeah.
She had there's resentment about that. In many ways, are replacing the black man. There's a whole. Now, so what? Your question was, what is the?
We're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. It's still going on because you. Jim, do black men marry white women because of the nature of black women? I know in some of our earlier conversations you mentioned that black women you've met have been uptight. What do you mean by that?
Well, I'll answer the one question. What do you mean by uptight? Going toward a more militant attitude about their own identity. And in many ways are way ahead of the black man, because
So, let me get that. So, he was saying that they were becoming more militant about their identity, and they were way ahead of the black man. Which, yeah, I can see that being the case. For the reason, one of the reasons is the black man out in the world, and yeah, you try to be more militant, yeah, you're gonna get locked up, beat up, probably killed. Black women probably not as much, so they got a little more wiggle room to be more militant than the black man has. Add to that, you working in the white spaces, you go into them for jobs. It's kind of hard to be militant, and you see that even today. It's hard to be militant. It's always funny when you see the pro-black talking about, yeah, the white man. But you work for the white man, dude. Oh, you shouldn't have no job for the black man. The black man, you should be working for the white man. Blah 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 blah. Okay, bro, when you gonna give me a job? So you're not gonna give me a job. You're not gonna feed my family. What do you think I'm gonna do? You think I'm gonna be going wild black power while I'm working on the white man's dime? So yeah, I mean, they would be more militant. Now that kind of it, and remember, this was kind of towards the end of the civil rights movement, and you're going into more of the black power thing. And yeah, it took longer for the men to get to that point, because again, they still working under the white man, even with this. So it's going to take the longer time. Meanwhile, the women are not as much under the threat of white men like that. So yeah, they have a little more time to be militant. Plus, there was a lot of stuff that happened to them that is coming out now that they know. Some of these black men know, some of them don't know. And we're just finding out about this now with social media. You know. And again, this was before Color Purple came out. This was before, I think this was even before Roots came out, where it really didn't show what was happening. It was talked about a bit, but not like that. So of course they were going to be more militant. They were going to get that identity. And let's see why. He was saying why.
I don't know why, but in many ways are replacing the black man. There's a whole, there's an almost unfeminine aspect of the black militant woman.
Do you find that
And you see that part there. That's when people say black women. He would call black women masculine. No, he was talking about those particular women. He wasn't painting all of them on that brush of being masculine. He was talking about those particular women who was becoming more militant. And with the fists and the protesting and stuff like that, that's kind of like a more masculine thing to do. So that's what he was saying. That he wasn't saying black women as a whole were becoming more masculine. He was very specific, but the way some of these women try to weave it, like he's dissing black women. Like, no, that's not what he was doing. And then he explains why they were going like that. Let's continue.
some black women you've known out of your personal experience blame the black man for what happened to them in slavery even today?
Of course, if the black man, regardless of the causes, failed to protect her, left her in a position where she had to sell herself or bargain with her body and so on. Yes, she had there's a resentment about that, but it's very complex now. You see, I think in another generation you'll get a whole crop, a whole generation of young black women.
Yeah, and there's a resentment that's been going on for the longest time. This was before slavery. That's why I was like saying with Max, this started way before the millennials. Hell, if you want to put it this way, it started even before the silent generation. This stuff started from slavery. There's always been that resentment there. But what kept it in check was one, we had no choice but to be with each other like that. You wouldn't seen a lot of these James Earl Jones out there like that. The community wasn't gonna let that slide. Two, they didn't have a choice. They had to be together. The black man had to be with the black woman. But as it stands now, we don't have to be together like that. You can live your life without dealing with a black woman. At least not in a relationship sense. You still have to, hell, you don't even have to deal with your family. Past 18, you move by yourself, do your own thing. You ain't got to deal with a black woman. And the black woman don't have to deal with a black man. So as it progressed, that black pride died, especially in the 80s and the 80s. That really killed black pride because look, you had the crack era, the crack era, the war on drugs. Um, Dudes weren't really going to jail and they didn't have no. And then when you had the millennials, you had the 90s where the crime bill, the crime bill, then guys getting out, can't get no job because they got a felony on their books. All that killed a lot of that black pride. Then you had the people moving out of the black neighborhoods, going into the white neighborhoods, going to suburbs. So now they're not even around black people like that. So you took away that black pride. Now, so when you get to the millennials and then the zennials and past that, they don't know what this pride is. Nobody want to hear that shit. Add to that, they had black people in their family that did them dirty. You had your own dad don't want to fuck with you. Your own mom don't want to fuck with you. Your family don't want to fuck with you. You have friends that will fuck you over. How you going to have a black pride? how you gonna have this black pride when the main people who fucking you over is the black folks? Of course, there's gonna be identity issues, and so of course you're gonna have a group of women who've been done, who've been not only betrayed by their men, but they didn't save them. The biggest thing that the black men did not win, whereas other groups like the Jamaicans, the Haitians, they won their independence. Yeah, they had to pay all this money to these different groups and all that, but guess what? They still won their independence. The black man did not. It was given to them. They did not win it. Civil rights, still, that was won. They were given that, not win. They didn't get it. And as soon as you got that, they made steps to make sure that you couldn't enjoy it. They took steps to take all those jobs away that black men were having, so they make them economically powerless. Then add the drugs, the war on drugs, all that. You took away the economic power of the black man. With no economic power, you cannot control your women. You cannot protect your women. So your women, understandingly, are going to resent that. And now they're doing it for themselves. They're building all these businesses. I don't have an issue with it. I understand it because they were restricted. The men were restricted. Now they're starting to catch up. And they're slowly getting out of that whole defeatist mindset. But that takes time. And yeah, some of them are all blaming the women for their issues. Get that too. Understand that. Those are ones you're supposed to leave alone, but we're not leaving them alone. We enhance them. We celebrate them. We celebrate these goofies. We celebrate them. We praise them. We praise Future more than we do Russell Wilson. Praise more of a Future type than a Russell Wilson type, and that's on both sides. It ain't just the black men doing it; black women doing it too. Because they're still sleeping with them, want to have babies with them. So it's like you're still having that issue. You can even see it online. That's why I said the gender war. Who won? Nobody won. The women didn't win. They're still worrying about what their dudes are doing, and still hanging with dudes. Even the divestors are still hanging with black dudes. Admittedly, some of them are panderers or LGBTQ, but they still hanging with them. So what did you really win? Well, they got divested groups. These women been divesting since this whole online gender war started. What are you talking about? Like they just discovered white men all of a sudden? Come on now. But anyway, I'm ranting. Let's get right to the other part.
Jim, where does the black man stand today in relation to the black woman, the white woman? Why? You hear it said that some black. I better do that again. I'm sorry.
I'm talking about their position in society. There are many, because I'm generalizing now, many are overreacting against Aunt Jemima, the Aunt Jemima image, the submissive Mother Earth type, unselfish, all giving, especially all giving to the white man, sexually and in the kitchen and every other way. And
Yeah, it was overreaction to Big Mama. Now he was talking about them being submissive and all that to the white man. There's also the one, but they're also talking about the black men as well, especially now. The big mamas that was giving all to Big Papa, even though he was having children everywhere else. Treated Big Mama with beating Big Mama, doing all these things. Meanwhile, abusing the kids in the home while Big Mama just sat there, you know, and these women are rebelling against that. And they still rebel to this day. Even the talk of even, doing something for a black man, some of these women just go off on that. You know, it is a crazy thing to see. But even James Earl Jones was seeing it. And history just repeats itself. Nothing's changed. It's just repeating itself.
She's also overreacting against the problem of having to be the breadwinner, the matriarch of the house. The myth of the black matriarch is really a myth because she is not. It wasn't her choice. Many black women, I'm sure, once they found
He said, even James Earl Jones saying that was a myth. It wasn't her choice. Now, this goes against one of these goofy dudes in the mainstream. Oh, they chose to be the matriarchy. They chose all this. They chose to kick the man out. James Earl Jones saying, no, she didn't. It wasn't her choice. She didn't choose all that. It was forced upon her. Now, they had to do what they had to do because the men were either getting either beaten, killed, or made insignificant, weak, because of what the white man was doing, or because he had no money, he bailed out on the family. That whole thing about they kicked out the home for a welfare check, that was some bullshit. I can tell you right now, personal experience. My brother, my I call her my sister-in-law. She wasn't really my sister-in-law because my oldest brother, didn't marry her, but she didn't have him in the home like that. She didn't marry him because she was going to lose those welfare checks. But guess what? My brother wasn't where he needed to be because he was on some drugs. Matter of fact, he would have been where he needed to be. He was good at baseball. He could have been something, but he's still worrying about these women. He obsessed over these women, and that fucked this opportunity to make some real money. And then he got caught up on drugs. And, well, the black man on drugs. You know the story about that. And my sister-in-law hang with him. She loved him. You know, that was her desire. You know, that's who she desired. He wasn't the best. He wasn't the best. He wasn't the worst. It's just who she desired. And even when my mother was trying to tell her, "Hey, you need to leave this. You need to leave my brother alone." And it takes a lot for a mother to be telling someone to leave their son alone. But she was trying as hard as she can. Leave him alone. She would not do it. She got mad at my mom. But she would have married him, and if he had his shit together, she would have married him. Wouldn't even take the welfare check. But my brother wasn't where he needed to be, so she had to do what she had to do. Eventually, actually, it wasn't even she separate. I want to say, did she kick him out, or did he just leave? I think he just left. But she was still trying to interact with him, trying to get back and be in the family till he passed away. and that's the thing. Um, but she had to be the breadwinner. So, and that would cause a lot of resentment. That's why they are where they are now. They have this resentment because the dudes had to be the these the women had to be the breadwinners. They didn't have a choice. It wasn't a choice in many cases. But when they even did decide that, when they did have a choice, they didn't take it. But let's continue.
This job had a certain social and political dignity to it, relish it, and wheel the rolling pin, like any minority group mama would do. Uh, but no matter how much you might relish it, it wasn't a choice to begin with. Um, she would always have preferred the black male to have run the house, to have saved her from white rapists, white slave owners. Um,
Is the black woman
but I recognize that this reaction can exist. You see, ask another question.
Why did you marry Julia?
So, like I said, even he understand that the reaction. I even understand it to even now the reactions. But you also understand there's the overreaction. That some of these people, some of these women are overreacting to this bullshit. Hence the gender war. Hence some of these divestors running into black spaces, black men enabled, all this shit, crazy shit. But you still won't leave black men alone. You still hang around black men, the panderers, the LGBTQ. You have goofy black dudes get on your panels and talk. Still won't believe, even in your dating situation, you still won't leave black dick alone. Well, we want to abort the black male babies. Okay, but you still won't believe black dick alone. If you're gonna divest, divest. But you can't play the field. Pick a side and just stay on there. That's the bigger problem. And then want to advertise it like, oh man, I got my white man. It's so much better. Nobody, men who don't give a fuck about you like that, they don't give a shit. Yeah, these goofy niggas are responding and angry, but they goofy niggas. So who are you really playing to? You trying to get black men mad? The ones that didn't save you? You want to get them mad? The one that got the shit together, they don't give a shit. So that's why I said, who really won the gender war? If you still complain about these niggas, you didn't win the war. The black women who are not caring about this gender war, they're the ones succeeding. They're the ones doing great. They're the ones said, F these niggas, I'm gonna do it for me. The ones who really bitching are the ones online. And it's always funny, they still seem to have a black dude around. And the weak one at that. Don't know if you can't say you won a gender war if you're doing that shit. But let's hear James Earl Jones talk about interracial dating.
I married Julianne because she's Julianne. Nothing to do with race at all, really.
No, not at all.
If I looked at it from a social standpoint, I could say that she outshone as a person most women I met of any race.
Thank you.
All right.
So this is goes to these goofy dudes who keep crying about these other women are great and I'm gonna leave and all this goofy shit. James Earl Jones said, "Look, she outshone any woman that I met of any race. He married her for her, not because she white, not because she want to get back at the white man, not she want to get back at the black woman, not because you got hurt back in the day. Is because she outshone all the women that I dealt with, and that's why I married her. He wasn't going around putting her on Jump Street. Hey, look at my white woman. This interview aside, that's why he was saying that he married her. And the ones who marry out, you wouldn't know. Hell, I didn't even know James Earl Jones was dealing with white women. I saw this one. I thought he was married to a black woman. But apparently he was married to his wife for his second wife for 34 years. And the only reason why they broke up because she passed away. He wasn't making no big deal out of it. He didn't go up there and saying white women were better. If you even listen to this interview, he didn't even say that she was better. She just outshone all the women he dealt with. He dated who he wanted to date. It's more I can say that some of these dudes on here crying about, well, I'm going to the ER. They better. They this. You sound like a goofy ass, can't get pussy ass motherfucker. And I would agree with the women on that one. You sound like you don't get pussy. I remember they were talking about dudes coming from the DR crying. I'm like, you would never see me do that. I'll go in a fucking hotel. I'll go in the hotel, maybe doing something like that. I'm not being out in no public. That's weak as fuck. Like I said, they're not in their national state. They weak, pathetic. But these are people we want to put on Jump Street. We want to talk about all the fucking time. Then you wonder why I say that this gender war you didn't win. These are still the dudes you still talk about daily. How you gonna have a black woman empowerment? You still worry about these niggas. How you gonna have a black woman empowerment that you still hanging around the same niggas that you keep saying that you don't want to hang around, but you're hanging around them. You're on their panels. You talking about you want to divest from black men, but you on black men panels. What are we doing here? Either get either shit or get out the pot. Black men, same thing. You want to talk about you want to divest? I mean, well, not divest. I guess um, well, I guess it's divesting. The dictionary term is divesting. It's the same thing, but yet you want to. It's like you want a ha ha moment against the black woman. You're obsessed with her. Get over it. That's why I told Max. I said no, they can't be. They can't worry about this gender war. They got to deal with that obsession. I agree with him on one thing. They need to, hey, bow out, get the fuck out of it, and worry about yourself. The women gonna be all right, but you can't do that if you want to just get these Latinas around you. You wanna put them on the jump street. You know they don't care about you like that. It's fucking irritating. Crying about what these chicks. The black woman's so masculine. I'm going overseas to get one. Nigga, just go and shut the fuck up. You literally ruined DR from what from hearing from different people. You ruined DR. You ruined, almost ruined Brazil, because you don't know when to shut the fuck up. Whether you tricking or not, you want to live over there. That's your business. But when you put it to where these women are so much better, then on top of that, you're putting out the chicks who are selling their bodies. Those men know that they selling their body. They don't want it on Jump Street, but you putting it on Jump Street. Now they got a problem with you. Nobody wants their dirt, their stuff on Jump Street. Don't know when to shut the fuck up. Don't know when to, hey, enjoy your time over there and get the fuck back home. Or if you want to live there, live there. I don't even have a problem with that. I don't even have a problem with dudes saying they want to live in another country. They want to go live there. I don't have an issue with it. I don't. Because America ain't for everybody. Even if you were born here. Even if, I put it like this. Not every black man is for the black community. Not every black woman is for the black community. Because our community is tainted. The men are tainted. They're not in their national state. The women are not in their national state. They're not where they need to be. And it's affecting a lot of people on both sides. And so, yeah, they say, fuck this, I'm out. So I don't have a problem with it. But when a group of dudes, so I'm gonna focus on the dudes, you're up here, you want to go, yeah, I'm going out. I'm dating this white chick. I don't give a shit. People who get women don't give a shit. Women who about their business don't give a shit. No one cares. You're making a big deal. You want to have your ha 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 moment. Well, news flash. No one gives a fuck. Ha ha yourself over there. You look like a weak ass piece of shit. Women ain't no better. I'm divesting. I got me a white dude. Ha ha. Shut the fuck up. You look like an idiot too. You putting these white folks on a fucking pedestal. It's annoying, especially when we know they ain't that much better. Do we need to go over their history? Do we need to go over their history? They don't even treat each other right. Then they gonna treat you right? Well, black women and white men, their marriage lasts longer. Yeah, but the problem is y'all don't get to that point. It takes you longer to get to that point. Black men get there quicker. Now they get the more divorces, yeah. But again, because they get there quicker. And white women have a lot more options. And a lot of these black dudes are not leaders. They're good dudes, but they're just not leaders. And you got to be a leader if you're going to lead a white woman. You got to, because she's coming from a pseudo patriarchy. And if you ain't on your square, that white woman will leave you and take all your money, or X you out the game. Watch Forensic Files. Look how they do their own men when they fed up. You lucky what a black woman do to you. She's throwing hot grits on you. She want to scratch up your shit. They not killing you in mass. These white chicks, they poison you and they'll still get away with it. These Latin women, you go to those other countries. I see those specials where the law ain't what it is. that you can get bought off. They can get bought off like that. I was seeing black men getting locked up. They stuck. They can't go nowhere. They fucked. You want to tell me that's better? And the way y'all acting like y'all ain't gonna survive that shit. Like I said, go over there. You want to live over there? Yeah, just do it. Just and if you want to come and talk about how to do it, I'm all for that too. But don't come over here like you want to just shame these black women, and then not only shame the black women, you want to shame the black men who want to deal with black women. So it is not only you in a battle against the black woman, you also in a battle with black men, and looking more and more foolish each time you do it. More and more foolish. Let's continue.
You then, why did you marry Jim? But first, do you know what Jim means by the uptightness of black women?
Oh, yes.
You've been in the
Well,
theater.
I've felt it. I've sensed it with almost every black woman that we know, whether they accept me or not. Whether there's always a tolerance, but there's always hostility behind it. I can understand it intellectually. Thank God I didn't have to go through the process that made it occur. I happen to think it's a good thing that they're showing hostility. I think it's the only thing they can show at the moment. And I think out of the hostility, I think that's a healthy sign. I think out of that.
Yeah, I wish that would have. I wish you would have went firm, but I guess the video cut off there. And it is a. It should show a hostility. That there was shit done to them by white women that they should have hostility towards white women. It's more than just kissing their ass. That's what it's like. The black lesbians that date white women, I'd be like, shouldn't you be more angry with them than anything? I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, I wish you'd live with more with that, but I like that answer. And listen to the video. I'm like, where was he like just going in on black women? If anything, he was more fair and understanding than a lot of these dudes in the manosphere. He's saying the same things that some of these pro-blacks been saying. Some of the women been saying. And it's like, but say something negative about black women. It wasn't even he's saying a specific group of women. He was very specific. And again, he didn't flaunt the white woman was better. He just said that woman shined above everybody else. That's it. And that's how it should be. She's shown above everybody else. That's what it should be. You don't be thrown in on Jump Street. Those men back in the day, they understood that. These black dudes out here now, they don't understand that. It's one thing. Look, if you want to date out, that's your business, but don't be thrown in people's faces. Some of these black women don't even understand that. Why are you throwing that in my fucking face? I don't give a shit. Now you want a reaction. That's the childish shit of this gender war. That's why I said nobody's winning this online gender war. It's not. There's no winning because you both look foolish. Nobody won. Well, in real life, yeah, that's real life. I'm talking about the actual online. Well, they got divesting groups, and that's not a win. Woo, that ain't a win. Win when you doing better, then we can talk about winning. online, showing it and actually being it. You can't tell me you won a fucking gender war and you still hanging around goofy ass niggas, and the white dudes that you choosing look as goofy as fuck. How the fuck you winning? Ain't no winning. Look like live life, win in life. Then we can talk. Till then, I don't fucking hear about gender war. They won. Who won? Nobody won. I don't see no winning. That was something that I listened to earlier. I was listening to that. I missed this part. Let's see. I'll go back to it. Boom.
Are are going through an identity change, an overreaction from Aunt Jemima, of who she is, not what color she is.
Possibly uptight today because
And actually, that quality, strong. I wanted to.
do black men marry white women?
The black male in America and the black female, and you have a war that's been going on probably since slavery between the two. Um,
There is
from slavery on, yes, and still in the South, this condition exists. So that and look at her than look at any other woman for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so I was looking at that. He said it. There was a gender war been going on. So this gender war even dates back even before that. It's been going on, and I guess people just didn't notice it. Hell, I didn't even notice it, but I'm starting to see it now. And I think, yeah, this stuff even even past the even date back even before the silent generation. I think even the reaction to the slavery caused the silent generation. Then I guess it kind of died down with the whole baby boomers. Then you had the civil rights, but then it kind of jumped back up with the whole thing with the militant thing going on. Then it kind of then it just kept growing. When you had the 80s, 90s, I think it kind of died down a little bit then too because of a lot of the songs, a lot of your big love songs, 80s and the 90s, was showing a lot of black love, which I agree with Max. I was raised on those songs. Like shoot, Teddy Pendergrass, Johnny Gill, um, Isley Brothers, all that. I was raised on that. I was raised on those songs. So when I hear dudes talking about they were simps and all that, I'm like, really? There's really not really that many like simp songs that you can just say those were just simps. The only one I can really remember like early 2000s, maybe early 2000s. The only one I remember like the Mario song, "You Should Let Me Love You." Let me. I'm like, oh my god, dude, you're begging. Please stop. I used to clown that song. Oh boy, boy, did I clown that. That song was just horrible. Begging like a just begging. Jesus, stop the begging, dog. It's annoying. Oh, I used to clown that. My ex wife used to love that song. I used to clown them like. I had fun with that song, but like I said, I guess it died down a little bit. But then yeah, like I said, it creeped up with the rap songs, um, and with the social media. especially after Black Planet went down, and then you had Facebook. Oh yeah, that I was saying, like this whole thing about divest and swirl and all that kind of stuff. That was in Facebook. I saw that there, and this whole gender back and forth. But now it's just ramped up to infinity. So I do agree with Max. Yeah, they ramped it up and made it worse. But to say that it started, this been this been happening since slavery. And so to blame the millennials entirely and past that for for the whole thing, no, you're not gonna get away that with me. And James Earl Jones you talking about it. This was before. This was during the baby boomers. So yeah, all these generations have a part to play in this shit. And too many want to pass the buck. They want to pass it down. Well, this your generation now, but you didn't do nothing to stop. You didn't do nothing to stem it. You just put a band-aid over it. But now the band-aid's been ripped off. Now everything's coming to light. Let me take that out the screen. That was another thing that I saw. He said, I'm trying to find it. Let me get it here. He said, yeah.
You're challenging him to, you talk about freedom. You usually challenging the melanated. You're challenging him to want to achieve anything he wants, to capture anything he wants, right? And around I think it's 14, you begin to say that, well, there's certain kind of women you shouldn't have, you know, and so on and so forth. Well, that's one aspect of the problem. I think that thing that happened at 14 should not happen, first of all. A man should pursue the kind of woman that either is in his dreams or is in his reality or whatever. Now, you get to, how do you know? Well, sorry, cut it. All right.
Yeah, it should be. That's what it should be. Who you desire, and you should be unapologetic about it. But you don't go around just throwing it in people's faces either. So if that is a black woman, then that's what it should be. Now this is the thing that gets irritates me too when I hear certain dudes up here going around. You shouldn't get this black woman, and she's a baby mama, and she's overweight. You shouldn't be getting with that. I'm like, nigga, shut up. I date who I fucking want to date. If my dream girl is a big a black woman, a BBW, if that's my dream girl, that's what I'm gonna get. If my dream girl is a white chick with red hair and body of a black woman, that's what I'm gonna go for. And you should be unapologetic about that. But don't be thrown in people's faces. I'm like, that just go achieve that and be real with yourself. I think a lot of the issues that come from, especially on the men's side, is that you're shamed for who you want to deal with, not just by women but men. And then you be surprised why these dudes turn on the men and be like, fuck y'all. And then same with the women, fuck y'all too. Now, hey, I'm dating who I want to date. Then there's some of the dudes who got rejected. So, oh yeah, well, I'm dating who I wanted to date now. I'm like, what's the problem? But I thought that was interesting to listen to and actually listen to it without somebody's biased opinion. And the overall, let me take that off. The overall I would say about James Earl Jones and this interview, I wish we would have heard more about what the white woman was going with that, but he was pretty much understanding. Let me stop sharing here. He was more understanding of what black women going through. He just said, "Well, I'm going to date who I'm going to date," and the one that outshone was that woman he dealt with. Now, 2 years later, they got divorced after this, but then he met another white woman. He stayed with her for 34 years, and nobody knew about that. I didn't know about that. I just recognized him from some of the movies and being the voice of Darth Vader, but I didn't know nothing about that. And he didn't put it on Jump Street. He didn't just you know make it a big deal. It wasn't a big deal to him. He was just doing what he was supposed to do, which it should be what men should be doing. You don't need to put it a big deal. Even you tell I married a black woman and I'm this. Okay, stop making it a big deal. It's goofy. Either side is goofy. Show me. Don't tell me. Show me. If you show me, you don't have to say a word. That's the whole thing with James Earl Jones. He's saying, I'm going to show you. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to show you. And again, his his opinion. He wasn't going around saying don't date black women, don't do all this. Not like some of these goofy dudes of the manosphere. He was just saying, look, there was an issue that the women had with the men, but he understood it because at the end of it was the men's fault. They failed. It stems from black men's failure. They didn't win the war. They didn't win their freedom. They didn't win the freedom of their women. It was given. And that's the biggest problem. It was not won. You didn't conquer. It was just given to you. And because it was given to you, not won, the women resent that. And then even after you won your freedom, the white man was still bothering you, still picking on you, still killing you, still doing all these different things. And the women had to see that. So you show that you could not protect because you don't have no power. And that's the crux of the whole thing. Power. Black men don't have no power. You cannot reconcile with your woman with no power. You cannot come together with no power. You have no power. So there's no point in even talking about women, criticizing women, relationships, submission, all these different things you talking about, these dudes are talking about online. But if you ain't got no power, there's no point. You cannot protect her physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, even spiritually, if you're into religion. Everybody has a shot at this black woman. The white man, the black pastor, fucking the Asian man, everybody has a shot at her. And she got to fight that battle by herself, collectively. I'm not saying there ain't no black men helping her, because they are. But the bad elements have a shot at her before you even do. The good black men do. She's fighting to get the hair industry, which is a good thing. They're the biggest customer, so they should be winning that war. We should be backing it up. Instead, you complaining, whining about the hair, the nails. Who gives a shit? Fuck them. If you don't want to deal with a woman with a weave, don't deal with her. She got kids, don't deal with her. You ain't got to deal with that shit. There's women over there. They have it. They don't have no kids. Just deal with them. And if she's on some bullshit, leave her. It's no problem. You ain't got to deal with that shit. But you're not gonna get that nowhere if you all you doing is just complaining, shaming, blaming, and explaining to these women how they should be with the black man, and when you ain't got no power. When you have to say you should, that means you ain't got no power to either influence her. You don't have nothing. So that's what I'm saying. The black men need to focus on that, getting their power. That's it. Nothing else. Not worrying about these women. Hell, not even worrying about having children right now. Get your power first, then worry about the children. Because then now you can protect their legacy. A lot of black men wouldn't focus on that. So here we are. So until we get back to focus on power, getting skills, resources, till we get back to doing that we did back in the day when we didn't have a choice, you there's no reason to even attempt to repair this war. It's better. This demand for stepfathers in the community is very high. I think all childish black men should step up to the plate. I'm gonna say this about the stepfathers. I think that's a personal choice. That is a personal choice. I do not encourage it, nor do I demonize it, because there have been stepfathers who have stepped in, and those children are doing great. They respect them men, and I honestly, if it's up to me, I would say should have a holiday for stepfathers, because you're taking on a responsibility that's not yours. You didn't cause it, but you're taking on that responsibility. I think that's a good thing. But however, I will not encourage it either, because for the same reason, that is not your responsibility. Because that's a personal relationship. Now, if you want to talk about black men should be mentors and help out kids in the community, showing them a different light, I'm all for it. They should be doing that, and there are men who are doing that, and those men who are doing that should be supported at every opportunity. They're not the way they should be. I'll put it that way. But no, I will not encourage a man to be a stepfather. I will say that if it's in your heart to do so, do so. But even with that, you need to have power. You need to be able to take on that responsibility and not have them lacking. That's what I think about that. I had a void in my life. Nah, I don't. No, I don't, because I am a proud stepdaddy of five. Void in my life. Well, calculated. I, I'm glad for you. That's you stepped up. You did what you needed to do. That was your personal decision, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I mean, my stepfather, he had an influence on my life. It's just a sad thing that he didn't live long enough. You know, I only had him for a short time, but I still talk very highly of him. That's how much impact he had in my life. So I think stepfathers are important, but I think again that is a personal choice. I will never just say, no, you just need to be a stepdaddy. Just do it. No, you really need to look inside yourself if that's what you want to do. If that's, I would also say it kind of like it's a calling. If it's something you want to do, you feel strongly about it, then go do it. If you don't play with that, because that can be disastrous too. I had dudes that my mother dated that tried to play stepdaddy. It didn't end well, and that's why I would say, if you're gonna do that, be for real. You need to treat it like they're your own, and treat it as such. If you're not gonna do that, don't do it. Yeah, but I'm glad for you calculated, and if you did that and it's successful for you and you see the results of it, I'm not gonna knock it. See, I'm not like manosphere. I don't knock guys for their decisions. As long as you're doing it for the right reasons and you're successful in it, you're not complaining about it years later, I'm not gonna knock you for your decisions. But if you're gonna bitch about it and complain about it, yeah, then I'm gonna knock you because it's like, well, you didn't have to do that, but you choose to do it, so that's your fault. But yeah, so what else I was gonna think about? But yeah, back to the whole thing with James Earl Jones. I mean, he said it best. This gender war has been going on forever, and but the thing of it is, it's been normalized in the sense of you really don't see it now. You're seeing it more on social media, and even with the movies that they had back in the day, like even The Color Purple or Waiting to Exhale. I saw it, but then it just became normalized. Well, black women think some of these dudes ain't shit. Okay, it's just normal shit. It is what it is. It just got overblown now with social media, and to the point where it's like, okay, now it's just getting goofy. So now it's just that's where it is now. That's why I said this gender war, nobody's winning. The online one now, offline, I can't really say it's a win if you still complain about dudes, though. hmm You know, but I'm gonna end it off here because I'm just gonna be rambling. Thank you, Calculated Chaos, for coming through. Um, and to the people who are probably watching on the replay, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Um, and then, in closing, James Earl Jones was right. He was right about all the stuff that's going on, and that this has been brewing for a long time. And now we're seeing, when you take away the need for black men and black women to be together, when you don't have a choice, now everything's open. So they don't have to be together anymore. You're free now. And All these talking points, all these crying about what these men are doing, what these women doing is just really do women, men and women who can't get what they really want. They're not really getting what they wanted, and now they're not happy. But and instead of getting what you want, sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. Now you want to parade your preference in everybody's faces. But what that really shows me that you really still not happy. You supposedly are successful, but you're still not happy. You're supposed to be divested, but you're still with a black man. You're around black men. You're on black men channels. Same with these guys. You supposedly supposed to be with this white woman, Asian woman, Latin women, but you're still talking about black women. You're not happy. Go be happy. Go live life. That's all I can tell you. Fix yourself, then worry about the other side. If you don't, you just be babbling on online, and then this gender war, online gender war, is never going to end because you're not happy. And with that, I'm going to leave. Again, thank you to Calculated Chaos for coming through. This is Brother Speak. I'm out. Have a good one. Peace.